Welcome back to the Elle-Sera podcast. And today I'm joined by Scarlett Gray, who is the founder of Glow and Dry. Welcome, Scarlett.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm your first podcast ever.
You are.
And I'm delighted because I've been wanting to get you on for ages because you're somebody that I follow and watch your life vicariously like I'm trying to live it because I've got kids and can't do fuck all anymore. So you're one of the people that I really love to follow.
Aww.
And ever since we met in lockdown, we did a live in lockdown.
Yeah, we did. How long does that seem ago now?
I know,
like forever.
And that's how we met. I've just started the brand. Here we are 3.5 years later. And it was just great to do. And ever since then, I've followed you. So it's actually, today is the first time we've met in real life.
I know, it feels like
you.
we're already friends. It didn't feel like coming today.
No, it's great. Okay, so tell me about Glow and Dry and how it began from like an idea to where it is now.
God, how long is your podcast? Oh, God, it has been a journey. Like, I think this year, because it's the 5th year, it just seems like crazy. Like, I don't feel like it's been 5 years for some, like, it's just been a blur. But then sometimes it's been really slow and sometimes it's gone really quick but I basically did the thing that everyone tells you not to do, which was just like quit your job and give it a go. But like part of me feels like if I hadn't have done that now when I look back, I probably never would have done it. So like everyone, like you said, vicariously lives off my Instagram, but actually like it's not really the real me. Like I was a massive tomboy growing up. I used to run like competitively. I was one of the boys. I never used to wear any hair and makeup. So like it wasn't really an industry that you would put me going into. And I basically used to work for a company called Quintessentially, and they were a concierge. So we had all these, and at the time they were like the biggest concierge in the world. Like everyone wanted to work for Quintessentially. I interned there, hoping to get a job, lived on my mate's sofa for like 3 months in London, and then got the job. And my job was to basically find the right people for my clients. So like, okay, Scarlett, I'm going to Paris, book me the hotel, book me the flights. Like, oh, and my wife wants hair and makeup, like find it. And behind the scenes, like, and I feel so old saying this now, of like there was no Instagram.
Yeah.
So like, there was no Instagram. You used to go on Google and I would be like tapping in hair and makeup artist in Paris, thinking like, who, like, not to be like Regina George, but like, who is she?
Yeah.
Who is this girl that I'm sending to this hotel? Like, is she going to turn up? Like, whose bank account are we putting this money into? Like, off Google? Like, who, like, what? Like, so I basically used to find it and be like, oh, why doesn't someone set up like a beauty concierge where you could just call them up and wherever you were in the world, whatever you need to organise, whether it be like hair, makeup, like weddings, like vitamin drips, whatever you needed, they would sort it out. And I was like, someone should really do that. Anyway, back to the day job, like continued on. And I got really good. Basically, I created this list and the list got so good that it like went around the office of everyone used to basically share my hair and makeup contacts and whatever. And then I left Quintessentially and went and worked for this place called the Hurlingham Club, which is like another members club, but it was more events. And I used to organise weddings and like the polo and all of that kind of scene. And I would get, again, like, oh, the bride's getting married. Do you have hair and makeup in the area? Could you recommend him? And I was like, no, not really. I've got a great lighting guy though, like whatever you need. But the idea kind of followed me around. So then you've got like the people that are coming to the polo and they were like, oh, where do you suggest we book to get our hair and makeup before we come to the event? And again, I was like, someone should really do this. This is like beyond. Left that job, went and worked in Formula One. Again, completely different to hair and makeup.
These are such glamorous jobs though,
yeah,
aren't
but
they?
you say that, babe, okay? I spiel all this off like it's such a glamorous lifestyle.
It's probably not, but you get to really mix in some great circles with some great contacts who, you know what I mean? You're really building your PR. You are building, without you knowing it, like you subconsciously, you're building your client list every time you go to these events and everyone goes, oh, Scarlett, I remember her from Quintessential, I remember her from the Hurlingham Club.
Yeah, it was all the stepping stones that I never really knew at the time were actually building exactly what you said to the foundations, what was to become. And also the idea kept building and building. So I kind of had this kind of like confirmed that it would work because there was a need for it and there was definitely an audience there and a client base. but like from a different angle. So like when I was at the F1, they were like, oh, can you get the hair and makeup to go to the boats? And I used to look at these, like the marina, and think, that's a floating gold mine. Like, imagine if you had a company that just went from boat to boat to boat, because like at the end of the day, I was on them boats and like I'm either exhausted, drunk, or hungover, or a mixture of the three, basically. And that was your job, like you said, is to basically host the client. And I'm awful at doing my own hair and makeup. So I generally was like, I would pay anything for anyone to come to this boat right now and just kind of make me look half decent. Yeah. So I came back, and then that was the moment when I just thought, this idea's followed me around for too long now. Like, I either give it a go or I'll never do. So I was like Carrie Bradshaw, Knightsbridge, quit my job, had my rent to pay. Not so fucking Carrie Bradshaw after 4 weeks, okay? Like, I'm like, shit. Yeah. Like, this independent flag, like, oh, it is heavy. Yeah. Like, but I was lucky that actually one of my hairdressers, like who did my hair, I obviously would always sit in the chair and like speak to him and be like, I've got this idea, what do you think? And he was like, well, the day that you do it, like I can work part-time at the salon. So like, I'll come and do it with you if you want. And I just remember, and also like he still works for me to this day.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
great.
5 years, Massimo has been like by my side. And I remember going to him one day, like, I've done it. Like, God, get ready. Like, okay. Yeah. And then I was just so lucky of, like you said, lucky, but also I think I always say I'm lucky, but now I look back, I'd put in the hours
of course,
that I probably never even knew were going to come back. And actually, because I went straight back to quintessentially, like, here's my child I've just given birth to. Please adopt it and like take it in. So I just went straight back to them and said, I'm going to set this business up. You know, if you get any hair and makeup requests, send them my way. They're like, great, we've got one today at 4 p.m. Yeah. Can you do it? Oh yeah, no worries. Send me what is it? I like leave the desk and I'm like, leave the office and I'm like, oh my God, like, fuck, this is real now. This is happening. Like, I've got to do this now. 4 o'clock, it's 1 p.m. now, but I can't say no, can I? So then I'm basically calling Massimo up being like, I'll give you whatever money you want to leave that salon at 4 o'clock. Oh, and by the way, do you know a makeup artist? And then that was it. I was just, like you said, I was off overnight. I had clients. I had no logo. The business didn't have a name. Like, it was just me. And like you said, they were like, oh,
you're just like the fixer.
I was just the fixer, yeah. Just call Scarlett. Like, and I think it was ingrained in me of that conciergeness as well, of just like, you never say no. And it was always like a challenge. Like, don't worry. Like, even if I can't get you someone, I'll try. Like, leave it with me. I'll call you back in an hour. It was always kind of like that service level was ingrained in me of like, you tell someone when you're going to call them back so they know when they're expecting you. Even if it's a no, you will get a phone call back to be like, no, I will really try for you. Like, I pick up the phone at 1 o'clock in the morning to my clients. They WhatsApp me like I'm their friend. Like, it's just been ingrained. And like you said, from there, it was like, just snowballed, really. I was off. I didn't have no name. I didn't know what it was going to be called.
Yeah. Well, incredible. So, but, you know, fortune favours the brave, and you had the balls to leave your job and go for it. And luckily, you kind of knew where you were going to go. Yeah. So you've got kind of like a contacts book there at Quintessentially who are going to help you get your first clients. So that's great. So you're off. You're starting to make a bit of money now and you're thinking, okay, great. So when did you get the logo, think of the name, do all that?
I remember I was sat at this little cafe on Walton Street in London, and I got like the pen and paper because I'm also dyslexic. So like I have to see it. Like I have to see everything. And like I'm very visual, which is quite weird. Like even though I can't do the hair and makeup, I can look at someone and like I don't really care how I look most of the time, but as long as you
always
good,
look amazing.
No, but as long as you look good, it's like ingrained in me for some reason that I want other people to like look good. It really gives me like a kick when people are like, oh, I felt so amazing. And so I always can like look at things and knew exactly what I wanted to look and feel like. And I never wanted it to feel like a girly company. I didn't want it pink or like a beauty. So I remember I just sat down with like the pen and paper and just wrote glow for the makeup with the and sign and dry. And then I looked at it and thought, oh, glow and dry. Oh, that sounds like a thing already. That sounds like a brand, even though it's not. It's just I've drawn, and I kind of like the and like, oh, could I put it to like G&D one day, or is that what it's going to end? Like glows for the makeup, dry for the, what is it? And I remember like we all do, if in doubt, if you want the honest truth, you call up your mother.
Yeah.
Like, and she'll give it to you. So I rang up my mum and was like, I think I'm going to call it Glow and Dry. What do you think? And she was like, yeah, it sounds like a brand already. Like, and that was it. I just drew it myself, called up this guy who was like a bit of a like whiz kid. I was like, can you just mock up a logo? I want it black and white. It's always been black and white. I always wanted it to feel like luxury, but not girly.
Yeah.
I always wanted it to feel a bit
chic.
gangster as well, in a weird sort of way, that I was like black and white. And that was it. I called it Glow and Dry, and it's still obviously called Glow and Dry.
And it's still,
you're
still happy with the name.
Still pretty much close to the logo that I drew, to be fair. Like, it's had a little like facelift, but it's pretty much the same. Yeah.
So how do you build your list of hair stylists, makeup artists? Who vets them?
So I vetted,
right.
Like you said, like in life, when you set it up yourself, and I've got no bank loans, I've got no investors, I've got no nothing. If you can do it, it costs you nothing. And also, like, I'm a massive control freak.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, it's my name.
Yeah.
There's Glow and Dry, but everyone knows it's Scarlett.
Yeah.
So basically, if it fails, it's not Glow and Dry that's failed, it's me that's failed. And like you said, I started off on such a high level of pressure of failing at the top. It wasn't like you were just failing at like a salon down the road. Like, if I failed at Quintessentially, which I came from, so there was also that level of, like you said, pressure that at the end of the day, like, I worked for that company. I know most of the people still there. So there was such a level that I just wouldn't let anything let me down. And at the end of the day, the stylists are going out there and they are
representing you.
They're representing me, and I can't control that. So that's where the level of, like you said, vetting comes in, that I basically would get them to my flat, set up a little station. And like, I was lucky that I always found, like, to this day, we really haven't advertised for stylists. So like, we found all of our stylists through our stylists. So like, I would say to Massimo, do you know a makeup artist? Yes, I worked on a shoot with this girl the other week. She's really great. So like, I already knew that she'd be pretty great because Massimo said that she's great and I trust him. And I've always like built the team through that way. So it's just scaled and scaled. But I would basically get them to come to the flat, or like a little studio that I then hired, got them to come in, and I'd trade test them, not telling them that it was my business. I'd be like undercover boss.
Yeah.
And like get them to sit down and just like test the hair and makeup, but I would also just be testing their personality at the same time.
Are they punctual? Do they turn up? Are they scruffy or they're not scruffy? End of the day, they're representing you as your brand, as somebody. Because let's say I'm in Paris and I don't know you, and I don't know Glow and Dry, and I don't know anything, but I've heard about this concierge service and I've booked you. Greatest of respect, I don't really care. I just want to go. I just want my hair and makeup doing it. Better be great. So if you've got like somebody, you know, that turns up and you're not doing you're the best service, you'd be gutted with that, you know.
Well, I can have the best marketing in the world, but they're doing the service.
Yeah.
And that's all you remember at the end of the day. Yeah. Like, yes, you remember all the other stuff, but like, once they're great, then you remember like, oh, they were great and the customer service was great and everything else was great. But if that's not good at the end of the day, everything else is pointless. Yeah. And like you said, and also like a big thing of your hair and makeup, of what I really enjoy having done, is my makeup artists are like my therapists. They're free therapists. Of course, you're not wrong. As in, like you said, or they're that moment where you can like, you got to be able to judge a room. So like, some people want your hair and makeup artist to be your therapist, maybe on that day. Yeah. Another, might be a really busy businesswoman who just wants 10 minutes of silence.
Well, like, exactly.
While she's having her hair and makeup done.
You're not wrong. And I've sometimes said, can I just have a silent appointment today? Because I just need to, I just need focus. I've got to write some really important emails. Yeah. And I just can't be chatting about, your kids or whatever. Like, and then if I know the stylist well enough, I can say that. And they're like, no worries, don't worry. Yeah. I had my makeup done today for you.
I actually had to do my own today.
I was like, Scarlett's coming on, I need to get my makeup done. And as she's trying to do my makeup, I'm taking a video call from China. So I've got a video.
Oh, I'm the worst client. Yeah. All my stylists say that. They're like, can you just sit still? Yeah, I'm the worst. Yeah. I'm like, got the coffee in one hand usually, typing emails at the same time, like running around, or like the worst is, like you said, I'm like such a chatty person to everyone. To get me sat down for like 10 minutes is like, and I always say, I'm like, I know I'm the worst, and I would hate me too. But they just get used to it.
Yeah,
like you said.
well, I'm the same. Are you a Leo by any chance?
No,
I feel like
Aries. Aries are the worst as well, aren't they?
Yeah. So, yeah, I completely get that. I mean, the best thing that could happen would be I had no phone signal. You know, that would, but even then if I haven't got phone signal, then I'm making a graphic for our content page. So I'll never not do anything.
You never switch off. This is what people don't understand of like, even when you look like you're switched off, like you could be meditating on the side of the mountain, like trying to get away. It never leaves you. You can't run away from it. Like when you really do generally, like it's in your heart, like you said, you can try all you want to kind of switch off. But you're still sat there and I'll be like, what about if actually we did this? Like, so you just can't help it. And then you learn to embrace it. That now I used to fight it and be like, no, Scarlett, switch off. Like, now I'm like, you might as well just lead in and just give up and just like enjoy the fact that you're always thinking about it because you're always going to care.
Until the day you hand it over to someone else, if that ever day
and then
ever
you'll
comes,
probably still care because you'll be like, I would have done it that way.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, look what she's done to my baby.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. Yeah, totally. So you've gone through the vetting process. You've now got teams of stylists and makeup artists. So tell me about some of like the highs, because I like I said, I've watched you on Instagram and you've nailed some really big jobs. And to an outsider, like, wow. Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's absolutely amazing. And well, it's a couple of things that spring into mind. One, you do all the staff in Annabelle's. Is that for particular events or all their events?
Annabelle's, I was very, very lucky again. / like you said, the other jobs, the stuff that you never thought was actually going to come in useful. A friend of mine was their event manager, and it was the time when the old Annabelle's were switching into the new Annabelle's. So I basically got in right at the right time. My friend rang me up. It was like 3 weeks after setting up the business. I think we had a name by that point, but like I didn't even have an Instagram. And she rang me up and was like, we've got a fashion show for Ralph and Russo. Now, I actually didn't know who Ralph and Russo was. Probably that was a good thing, babe.
Yeah.
That I didn't.
Now it's well known for the wrong reasons.
Now it's well known for the wrong reasons.
If you don't know, go and Google it.
But at the time, it was very big. It was still very
big,
couture.
Oh, it's still big couture, still great brand. You know, it's just a bit unfortunate, you know. I'll Google it.
Yeah.
But still big brands, still couture brands, amazing.
Oh, especially when like you don't know what you're doing. Like I'm 3 weeks out of setting up this business. Yeah. I've never run a backstage runway show before, but I have run a wedding. So in my mind, it was the same difference, babe. So I just took it that she was like, and I've just always been that person that said yes and then was just like, we'll just figure it out. We'll figure it out later. And at the end of the day, I ain't failing. If I have to crawl out of this building, I am not failing. Like, and how am I letting down like Annabelle's? Yeah. Like I might as well crawl because I'll be dead. So like
my name will be shit in London.
I'm blacklisted from Mayfair, okay? I'm never coming back. Like I'm never coming back from this. This could be the end of the business before it's even began, basically. And I think because like the stylists that I had at the time, I was so honest with them that they kind of like came on board with me, that I think they appreciated like, oh, this girl's got some serious contacts here, but like she doesn't know.
And if you are straight up and I don't know what I'm doing, but you're in the trenches with me right now, and we're doing it.
Help me. Yeah. Help me to help you. I'm Joe Maguire, okay? Like, of the hair and makeup world. And they kind of appreciate it because they were like, well, this is kind of how it should be anyway. She's got the contacts and the client. We're doing the hair and makeup job. Like, okay, I remember it was Tanya who was one of like the first like really big makeup artists that I had come in. And I think she just like believed in me with the honesty. And I was like, look, Tanya, you've done this before. So I'm actually going to put you, instead of doing the makeup, I'm going to put you in charge of running it. If anything happens, like you said, I'm like here and you're there, just filter it back. But like it will come better direction coming from you because you are a makeup artist than me. Yeah. I'm better off conducting. That's what I'm good at. So like I've always been good at like putting people in the right roles and then just like you said, making sure that it goes right. But like you said, to do a backstage runway show, I had to fund it all myself.
Yeah, wow.
Did it all for free.
Wow.
And just told myself that one day this is going to come back and this is going to like do me good. Had to pay all the stylists, everything. And like you said, it was just like a learning curve that I was just like, okay, you know how to run.
Why was that? You had to fund it yourself? Because I would expect at that level.
You know, at that point, like
they were like, oh, it should be an honour that you're doing this for us.
Like the show is what is it? Of like you said, you're going to sponsor it basically. Yeah. And I was like, okay, at the end of the day, like if I'm sponsoring the event, then fine.
Yeah.
Like, and it did beyond payoff, like you said. So it really did work. But at the same time, people don't understand the pressure when you're a startup business. And they're like, oh, why didn't you sponsor this event? And you're like, oh, why don't I cut down that money tree? Yeah. Like, where do you think?
How am I paying my rent?
Like, where's Cinderella cutting down the money tree from to like fund this? What is it? But look, you got to, like you said, speculate to accumulate in this world. And it did work. But at the end of the day, like I just saw it as I was like, right, this is an event. You have 100 people to get ready in 4 hours. So I'm going to break that down that I have 4 hours, 20 minutes per person. How many people can one stylist do in an hour? Great. She can do 4. Okay. Times that by 4. That's how many people I need. So like you said, the event side of it that I never knew actually came in such handy of, like you said, to like run these events. And then I was off. The next week they were like, oh, we're actually moving over to the other club now. And we've got a few staff that we want to style. And it wasn't really a thing. Like this staff styling wasn't anything I'd necessarily like planned to get into, or I don't think anyone else had ever planned to get into it either. And like, I was just so lucky that Annabelle's hold everything to such a high level that we
you've got to, because like, I mean, how much is it to get a membership there? Is about 100?
You know what? I don't even know.
It's either like 145 or 175 grand a year, something like that. Massive money. Yeah. So the people that are in there, very high expectations, ridiculous expectations. That's the level you're at that place. If for anybody who doesn't know what Annabelle's is, it's a private members club in Mayfair. So it's got to be exceptional, and that's why the decor's exceptional. Yeah. The outside of it when they decorate it for Christmas and Halloween and everything is beyond exceptional. And these make Pinterest boards around the world. Yeah. It's incredible. So, like, you're a startup. This is why I'm trying to get through to people. Like, how feel the scary this is.
I still feel it now. Like talking about it
for you. I'm like, oh my God, this is scary.
It was. I don't know how I did it. Like when I look back now, I don't know how I did it.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss, and I was just fearless in a way of, like you said. But I also think it came in the of just being like, I'm not failing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I'm failing. So whatever I have to do in this building not to fail, that's what I will do. But I think it was also great because we basically created what stands today. Like you said, we came in and it was like 2 or 3 people were going to like do the hair and makeup for this event. And it was just normal hair and makeup. And then the next week was Halloween. And they're like, oh, great. So actually we're going to do 300 people for 5 days. And I'm like, oh, hang on. Last week we did 3. Now I'm doing like 300 people for Halloween for 5 days. Is that okay? And I'm like, yeah, no worries, absolutely. I'm like fucking shitting myself. Yeah. Like seriously.
Where do you find because now you stylist book and you makeup book, because if you're a good freelancer, you've probably got your own clients as well booked in, you know. If you've been in the game for a long time, you're going to have all your own clients. And it's like, no, I need to just drop everything because we've got this event and you're going to want to be part of it.
And no one actually realised, like, Halloween is like our Christmas.
Yeah.
It generally is. Yeah. That and Royal Ascot are the 2 busiest months of the year. So everyone's booked for Halloween. And then, like you said, that's also a new complete realm that I'm now entering, which is creative hair and makeup.
This is the thing I was just about to say.
That's a whole different realm I've just stepped into.
Yeah, added ball ache is not just some MAC eyeshadow. It's like prosthetics. Now it's like, because the standard you've got to be at is like frigging Star Wars makeup on this stuff now.
And like you said, 300. Not 30.
I know.
300 in like 4 or 5 hours. It is like a conveyor belt, basically. Yeah. And then, like you said, like I have to design the looks. So it is me that designs the looks. Because weirdly, I'm really good at that, which is strange. Bearing in mind, I can't draw. So that's another thing. Like, I can't draw. I can't do the makeup myself. But like, I can sit for hours on Pinterest and like know exactly what I want them to look like. And then on the night, I generally stand at the door like...
You, Dracula, you, werewolf.
Oh, the words, honestly, if I had like a note phrase book of the words that have come out of my mouth, like, because it's just not normal. Like, I'd be like, oh, where did like the White Walker come from? Like, and back there, send him back, don't like his face. Like, he hasn't got enough blood on it. Like, we did Game of Thrones, which I think was the second Halloween. Yeah, because that's the one that broke me mentally inside. The second Halloween. And like, the point where it was like film set level. So like you said, like we generally had to get it signed off that it was like good enough for Game of Thrones directors, that kind of level. There was prosthetics, there was blood. There was, I remember my accountant being like, remember on Wolf of Wall Street when he's like, you spent how much on sides? He's like, you spent how much on blood? And I'm like, yeah, but it's not just any blood. That's like film set level blood. That's like 50 quid a tiny bottle like of blood that was spent at Halloween. Like, and I got so possessed by this event that like people would be coming out the door and I'd be like, where did you come? Like, I'm like, my eyes, I'm like, where did you come from? Whoa, go back. Let me look at you. And then I'll like look at him and I'd be like, no, because in like season 2, episode 4, you actually died like this way and you don't look like that. So go back.
I feel like, oh my God, if there's any TV producers watching this, could you go follow a Scarlett around at Halloween at Annabelle's BBC documentary?
And like, I just can't, like, I just want everything to be so next level.
Yeah.
Like, I want it to be perfect. I want it to be next level because at the end of the day, like the owners are there on the night and you could be doing 300 people and blind me, it be that one person he sees when you walk in that you just haven't paid attention to because you just think, oh, well, he's just like one of the waiters for the night, so no one's going to see. It will be him that he sees.
Of course.
So like you said, you want it to the point where like everyone, and also I get a real kick out of it. Like the staff love it.
Yeah.
They're getting into character for the night. So like you said, you're setting the scene that they're going into this immersive world. But for me, like you said, it's just a completely different world. Or like, there's been so many moments where like I've broken down. Like I remember going out of Annabelle's, coming back downstairs and there's these stairs and you could probably see in my voice, like it haunts me, like to the point where I still go in that back way and I still get like a little like, like there was these stairs going down and there's all these people just sat on the stairs waiting to come into the room. And I remember all I could hear was my name being said down there, like, where is she? And I remember walking down the stairs thinking, could I just turn back? Like, could I just not go in? Like, oh, how am I even, like you said, but no, you don't see that. And then you don't see the, like, the tears afterwards, like, not of joy, but just of pure, like
sheer, like, fuck,
anxiety,
I've run like 10 marathons in the desert with no water, back to back here.
Yeah. And there's always a point through the night, it feels like the Titanic could sink. There's always a little bit when you've got like that amount of people that you think, oh, tonight could be the night this doesn't, like, what is it? And then somehow you always kind of come up the other end and back. But like you said, it comes from experience.
So I was going to say, so what did you learn from that? So the one that mentally broke you, what did you think, God, I'm never doing that again? And then how did you learn from that?
No, nothing's ever a big deal anymore.
Really? You think nothing will ever be as bad as that again? You just become like
numb inside.
Yeah.
Like that you just now get to the point where you go...
It builds
like,
resilience.
Yeah, it builds resilience. Like I look at that and I generally left. It broke me. I had a little cry afterwards, like of like just pure like, oh my God, I actually pulled it off.
Yeah.
Because at that point you've still got like, this is all new. No one's ever done it before. So like you said, like Annabelle's are taking every event. It's the best Halloween party in the entire world. The money that is spent, the pressure that is on everyone in that building to do the best job possible. You then get to the point where, like you said, you go, oh my God, we did it. Because like people don't understand. We're planning Halloween in like March.
Yeah.
So like you said, like all of the build up before you even get to the night. You're exhausted before you get there for like the build up. And then you get there and then you look up or like you look across the square and then you've got like real wolves on the door and like the horses going around the square and like the big dragon and the smoke like, and it's just so next level that you actually have to pinch yourself to think little old me was a little part. Because at that point, then you're detached. Like you said, like once you've stepped outside and like no one knows who you are and you're like looking at it and you're like, oh my God, I actually pulled that off. Like we actually did
Well, there's
that.
an amazing sense of achievement.
Yeah. Like this is insane.
Yeah.
And then like you go, okay, now that like you can do that. I generally left that event and was like, I can do anything ever again.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever be a big deal ever again. So it does make me laugh when some people call me up and they go, oh, do you think you'll be okay with 5 people? And I'm like,
no problem. Walk in the park, thanks me.
I'll be okay. Yeah. Thank you. Like, it's fine. Like, do you think you can accommodate 10 of us? Yes, we can accommodate 10 of you. Like,
yeah, it's absolutely nuts, isn't it? Like, you don't understand the pressures. Like, when people were asking me, like I was speaking before and I was like, I've got Scarlett on. Scarlett runs this company. And it sounds like, just like,
just a bit of hair,
rich
makeup.
women in the door just to get their hair and makeup done. Nice, dead easy. That's that booking. And then you're just waiting around for a call. But it's not like that at all. There's a lot more that goes. And like I said, you plan an event. So Ascot is another huge event for you. Oh. And you always go like so... like incredible. I remember so not this year just gone, but the one before that, you had this beautiful Edwina Ibbotson hat on. Quite a few of them, and it made loads of press and you just looked insane. I was like, wow, you look amazing.
Oh,
like you really
thanks,
do.
babe.
So like, when do you start planning your outfits for Ascot? Because then the one last year was really like Beyonce inspired.
Yeah.
With the cowboy hat. It was, and again, like a bespoke outfit. It was amazing. Apologies for interrupting this podcast, but I need to ask a favour. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, then please hit that subscribe button right now. I'll be straight up and honest that I want to see this podcast grow and flourish into something that I'm really proud of. And the only way that I can do that is with your help. So if you've ever learned anything useful from these conversations, then please return the favour by liking, rating, subscribing, and maybe even sharing it with your friends. Thanks very much. Let's get back to the episode. So when do you start planning your outfits for Ascot?
So last year, I really didn't think anything of it, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Like it's probably the only week of the year that I actually make an effort myself. Because usually, like you said, and I enjoy that. Like I'm not one, I'm not really I've always loved my fashion, but I've never been one that wouldn't leave the house without hair and makeup on. Like I'm a bit of a tomboy deep down.
Yeah. So I look like if it's not for the podcast, I look like an absolute tramp Monday to Friday.
And that's my safe space. Yeah. I like that behind the desk.
On a Tuesday, I make some effort.
What is it? In my gym kit, no hair, makeup on, probably the baseball cap. Got my Starbucks. That's actually my favourite place to be. And I like being behind the scenes with the team, but that's the one week at the end of the day. It's work. This is the way that I promote my business, that people just think, oh, I do it for fun. It's not fun. Yes, it is fun, but like you said, I'm doing it to promote my business at the end of the day. And last year, I didn't really think it through, to be honest. I just was like, oh, I'm just going to have real fun with this. What character can I go each day? So I generally see it as, like you said, who do I want to be? So the first day I wore a big blue massive one, the Edwina Ibbotson hat, because I was lucky that we'd actually done the shoot.
Oh, yeah.
So we did the shoot for all the billboards. So all the taxis that you saw going around London, that was us doing the hair and makeup. And that's a pinch me moment as well. Like you said, you're watching a taxi go by and you're like, I did that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that was on the billboard. So I bagsied that hat in Jan. I was like, if no one wears that hat, can I wear it to Ascot? Yeah. And then the next day, this was before I knew Barbie was going to be a huge hit. I had this really beautiful pink dress and beautiful pink, with the long white gloves. And I was like, oh my God, I'm actually Barbie. Then Barbie was everywhere, wasn't it? That I actually didn't plan, but it worked out well.
Yeah.
And then
I just remember seeing you in so many magazines and and newspapers the next day. And I was like, oh my God, well, you did look sick. You looked amazing. So.
Well, I think my favourite was the top hat and tails, because I was the first woman, I think, in history on Ladies' Day to ever wear a full morning suit with the top hat and tails.
But you really made it feminine.
Yeah, because I had this Victoria Grant veil with the diamantes. And I was like, oh, is it a bit much? And I was like, No.
You've done the really pretty feminine ones and the other two outfits, and that was just, again, a real statement, but you looked amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it looked incredible. Definitely go and check out Scarlett's Instagram, which will give you the hat
that you're on about was the one that made the front page of the Financial Times.
That was it, yeah.
And that was a real
And the FT.
I actually couldn't believe it. I woke up and I was so exhausted on the Thursday because also you don't really get time to appreciate anything.
Ascot's a long day. You're in heels all day.
You go in there. I'm on the site at 5 a.m. Yeah. So I'm up at 4 a.m, driving to London, packing the whole, and people think I have this massive big team. It's me. I'm carrying my own chair. Yeah. I'm packing everything myself, driving it to Ascot. Don't get me wrong, I love that kind of thing. I like the camaraderie of Ascot Week. You're there at 5 a.m, you're in the trenches together, you get the Starbucks, you do the event. By the time everyone turns up for their race day, I've done my day. I've been up since 4 a.m. Then you have to go and do whatever. Then you de-rig, drive home, do the social media, get up the next day and continue to do it. So for the Thursday, then the Friday, was the big hat. And then on the Saturday I woke up and they were like, have you seen the papers today? And I was like, babe, I haven't had time to barely brush my teeth, okay? I am so exhausted. I'm like, why? And they were like, you're in every single one of them. You go to the newspaper shop and go and get them. And I remember there's little news agents by Ascot Racecourse. I walked in and bam, front page of the Financial Times. Bam, full page in the Telegraph of just me, bam, me, Kate Middleton and Dame Judi Dench.
That's what I mean. And it was not just a little snippet of you in a crowd. It was full on a celebrity's picture. mega amazing
and I
press
bought
for the business.
Six of all of them. And the man behind the desk was like, why have you bought 6? And I was like,
that's me.
He was like, oh, that's you. And I was like, because I obviously didn't look it. I'm in my gym kit, got no hair, makeup on. But I think the Financial Times, of being the front page of the Financial Times as a businesswoman, was a real big deal because you always still get it to this day. And I don't know what it is. And it really eats me up inside. If you go, oh, how's your little beauty business getting on? And I'm probably turned over a lot more than you, mate. But there's just such a stigma, I feel still. And for that moment, I feel I actually got more text messages off men to be congratulations. And I was like, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, totally agree. It is a misconception, but listen, whatever.
Now I have the day when they say something to me. I'm like, oh, have you been the front page of the Financial Times? Yeah. No, you haven't, have you? So when the day that you have, mate, then me and you can have a conversation. Okay?
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Where do you think this kind of resilience comes from? And this, you're going to make it work attitude. That's a real resilient, really kind of bullshit almost. No, I'm going to get it done. I'm always going to say yes. Attitude comes from.
Well, I think people have a misconception of me when they see me.
You're very determined.
I think they look at me and they go, oh, she looks she's just put together, and I bet she just floats in and just all these jobs just fall into her lap. But they also forget that I was a long distance runner. So it's ingrained in me in life that you only get out what you put in at the end of the day. You have to put the training in to get the results. So it was always ingrained in me. And there's a bit of that long distance runner where you just are a pusher.
Perseverance.
I think, what was it on Mean Girls? And she's like, I'm a pusher, Katie. Yeah. That's what I'm like. I'm like, push, 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 push. You feel like you can't get out of the bed today. Probably why I got glandular fever. Yeah. But you can't get out of the bed today. You need to get your ass up, get out, get a coffee, get a grip. No one else is going to go and do it for you. There is a massive bit of me, as you said, is just ingrained of that hard work with the running. And like you said, and it's not glamorous, is it?
I always say, I truly believe females should get into sport. I've said on this podcast a few times, I want my little girl to win Wimbledon. Yeah. And I was like, I swear to God, she'll be into sport. She'll be knackered from doing sport, that she will not have time to go on social media. Yeah. She will not have time to do all these stupid frigging TikTok dances. I'm not interested in that.
No.
I will ram
gives you guts.
sport down her
You've got to have
throat.
some guts in there. Like you said, you've got to have
100%.
guts. You've got to have a fighterness in you. Otherwise, you'll just crumble. And I do think everyone forgets that I'm like Northern as well.
Yeah.
So like,
I totally forget you're Northern. So you're from Yorkshire.
Yeah. So my dad's Southern and my mum's from Yorkshire.
Yeah.
And there was a massive bit of like, just that mentality of like, I remember like some days you still ring your parents for some reason, like when things feel like they're going to crumble, because you know you're going to get the honest, like hard truth out of them. And like I'll ring my dad up and he'll be like, I think today could be the day. Today could be the day that I fail. This could be the moment. It's like, oh, get a grip. Like, get a grip, go in and just don't fail. And you're like, okay. Like sometimes all of this, okay, I'm going to meditate on it and I'm going to, what is it? And I'm going to, look, I'm becoming more that person now. I really am. But there also needs to be a bit in you is that resilience of a fighter to be like, get up. You're not failing today. You can die tomorrow. You can lay in the bed tomorrow. But today is not the day after 5 years that you're going to lose all of this now.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, and you've got to give yourself that pep talk because no one else.
And no one else can do it. You're not wrong. There's a great book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. And in it, she said, grit will always win out. Yeah. Better than talent, better than anything. Just literally resilience and grit is the path to success.
And survival mode. I go into survival mode. There's a real part of me which like, don't know if I'm proud of it or not, but like I can go a bit dead inside because you have to. When you're under that amount of sheer pressure, if you can't have a part of you that can go whoosh, right, survival mode here. We need to get all of this done, all of this. And then it's a weird out of body experience, like with the events that like when I'm in there, it's like survival mode and then you come out and then you're your normal self again. You've got to be able to have that tunnel visionness of, like you said, like start line. Here we go. This is what you trained for.
You know,
it's the same
and the thing is, it's
you're
like
on the start line now. Go.
Yeah, and you're at mile 23. You've got to get to 26. You can't stop at mile 23. No. You've done the hard work. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. And that's when it's the hardest. There. Exactly. You're so close. Keep going. I do, And
you've got to be that person because like you said, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm like the little cheerleader. The stylists, when you go in, are like all doing the jobs. And there's got to be someone that comes along and like just gives the hype.
Morale.
Like,
absolutely.
Come on. Like, I'll walk in. You go back to my backstage. It's like a party backstage. Like, turn the music on. Like, here we go, team. Showtime. Let's get the show on the road, shall we? This is what they paid us to come and do. Let's remind everyone why we're the best. Come on, let's do this.
I love that.
You've only got half an hour left. I know you're exhausted. I will buy you a coffee afterwards. Come on. Yeah. 2 more people. You've got this.
That shows great. That shows great leadership skills from you. And that's the kind of person you want around you in the trenches, let's say. You know what I mean? You need positive attitude. You don't want a negative person. You want to like somebody, hype man.
Yeah, you need a hype man. And it gets you nowhere, the negativity.
No, I agree with you. So what is next for you and Glow and Dry? What have you got coming up?
It's exciting now, like, because I feel like after 5 years and like you said, like the massive big events of like your Annabelles and your Ascots and like all the other stuff that we've done behind the scenes that you like can never share and never know of, like the celebrity stuff that we've done and all the like private clients that we work with. I think now, like you said, I'm probably going to raise investment, which is the right time now because I just want to share Glow and Dry with everyone now. Like I want it at the point where it is the Uber of hair and makeup. We keep this level that we've got of, like you said, a trusted brand that I built over the past 5 years. But it just breaks my heart whenever I'm like, here today. And like generally I was like, I want to be able to book my own Glow and Dry in Liverpool today.
Well, that's true.
And I can't.
Yeah. And then there are other types of apps you can use because I was the same. I actually nearly rang you the other week when I was doing Abby Clancy's podcast. I was like, I can't do that looking like shit. I need a hairstylist, I need a makeup artist. But I was like unsure of when I was coming down. So I was like, don't know what to do. And then I eventually just got my hair done in Liverpool, pinned it, went down, and then I got a girl to come to the hotel that I'd already used in London before. So that was great. But my friends were like, download the Ruby app or whatever. But I never actually used it. So there are other apps that do it. But again, there's no, and you've got to suppose Treatwell for salons and stuff like that. But it's the level of service that you offer. It's the kind of, well, we can get you a prosthetic makeup artist, or we could get something a bit more like special or creative, or, put your final look together almost. Because let's say you were going to Ascot. Let's say I'm going to Ascot next year. That will definitely happen. And I'm always running around last minute. I mean, this year, I literally had stuff arriving on the morning.
Oh,
I don't know what I'm fucking wearing. And Ascot's somewhere where you've got to be put together.
I got my hat this year on the morning, and I planned for months if I was going as a cowboy. Okay, I was like, in January, I'm going as a couture. Think of Chanel does cowboy. That is my look this year. I planned everything to a T, and then I literally got my hat on the morning of Ascot, and then you're like, how is this got to everything's meant to be planned already? So then, like you said, we're all the same that week. Is like you said, you just get to the point when you go, okay, I'm going to put the hat on my head and I'm going to go out and hope the best, and just enjoy it. Is what was meant to happen.
Well, I think I might actually, because I usually go and come back in the day. So I've got a driver to take me one year and come back. And then,
that's good going, because that's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey. Right? And then I flew there and back. Sounds so glamorous, but I knew a pilot who needed some hours. So he's like, I will fly you because I need to do the hours.
I'm coming with you next year. Free glow and try.
So I was like, no worries. So I was like, fuck, I've got to wear those headphones on my head. So I was like, I can't ruin my hair. Oh, these are so first world problems. But anyway, so I looked okay, but I could have looked better. But I did wear a Christian Dior dress, and that was fab. But so this year I was like, no, I'm going to get a hotel. I'm going to stay.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah, and it's only because I've got the baby. I need to get back for her.
It's just they're long. People just don't understand. They're long days as well. It is completely draining that week. But then at the same time, I'm just so
it's a real
privileged
step up from, if anybody's listening to this and they've been to the Grand National, it is another level. Everything, and it really is finesse as well. Everyone's dressed incredible. The dresses that they're wearing are expensive. You can tell the quality a mile away.
Yeah.
The headpiece is amazing. Shoes, bags, everything's so put together.
And the whole, what is it? I got into Ascot because my parents have always been in horse racing. So again, take don't know that it means so much to me. Of I stand there some days, and it's only now, because I've now learned to take a step back and take it all in. And it never leaves me that I go, God, how am I here?
Yeah, at Royal Ascot. It's the pinnacle of horse racing.
I'm always going to tell myself, I'm never going to lose that.
Yeah.
Because you do lose it. There was a point where you lose it and you think this is normality. And you catch yourself being like, oh, I've got to go to Ascot this week for 5 days and I'm so tired. And then you're get a grip of yourself. How blessed are you that you have this level of client, and you get the privilege to go every day and call this work to Royal Ascot. And it's the Colosseum is what I think it's when you look up at all the people and everyone's immaculate and people think that we just do not the actual staff. So it's actually Ascot themselves that hire us in. So that became, like you said, something that no one had ever done before. And again, my friend worked at Ascot. And that's something I've always never said. People would turn down a job because it's too small. They'd be like, oh, it's only one person. It's not worth it. And I'm like, if you never know that one person, she could next year call you up or 5 years down the line.
Oh my God, the circles that you're moving in, it's your name will get passed along.
You just don't know.
I've got a girl, I've got a girl, I've got a girl. I'm in WhatsApp groups with some of the best CEOs in the country, female CEOs in this country. And we always share stuff in there. It's amazing. So you never know. It's hi, has anyone got the number for Will Young? And somebody will go, yeah, there you go. It's it's absolutely nuts, this WhatsApp group.
But that's appreciation of, like you said, you're in it and you appreciate how hard it is. So it's always ingrained in me, like you said, of if I can help another businesswoman in any way, however small or big, you will, because it never leaves you of drawing your own logo and I wish someone had rang me up and gave me a job. And they have. I've been so lucky of, like you said, of people just being call Scarlett up. I trust her enough that she'll sort it.
Yeah.
And that's how it's always been. And I'm just very lucky that, like you said, I've got amazing people that have just, believed in me and I've just not let them down, basically.
What's the one event you've never done but would love to do?
My dream has always been, because I worked in the F1, that I always wanted a beauty pit stop.
Right.
And it's quite intriguing that Charlotte Tilbury this year actually sponsored some of the F1 cars.
Right.
And that's always been she'll probably do it next year now. I've said it on this podcast. Like, she'll probably have the pit stop.
I don't think Charlotte listens to
Tilbury
this.
all lined up. But I've always wanted like a little like, because my thing was probably why I fell into events. Like I didn't understand why you've got these apps like your other companies that do it, but they don't do events. They don't do anything else. It's just like at home stuff.
Yeah.
And like, yes, that's great. But at the end of the day, I always wanted to look my best when I was going somewhere. So I like, if you're in, like you said, you're going to Ascot or you're going to the F1 or you're even just going to your friend's wedding in the middle of nowhere, you always then want to find people in that area. So like I was like, oh, I don't understand, like the horse racing was my background. So like I started off at the Cheltenham Festival and got my own little pop-up banner, and a few of my mates Instagrammed it that were in horse racing. And we did a little pop-up in the hotel where all the owners and trainers' wives would come and have the hair and makeup done, because they were in an environment they didn't know. They don't know anyone in Cheltenham.
Yeah.
So if you can go in and, like you said, have it done there, because the most hotels don't have hair and makeup.
No, exactly.
Like, outside of London.
And I stayed in a big manor house when I went to Cheltenham, and it was full of owners and trainers.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of knew each other in this manor house, but no chance was I getting anything done there. No chance.
You need to know your own people. You need to bring them in. So I was
even when I went
like,
to Grantley Hall at a wedding, I was like, where the hell am I getting anyone around here in Ripon?
That's where I'm from. Like you said, I'm like literally so close to Grantley Hall. That was my old gym. Like you said, and you've got Grantley Hall, which is like a massive, beautiful, isn't it? Like you said, really 5-star. And then you go, oh, spa, hair, makeup.
Yeah.
Nope.
No chance.
Where am I getting them in Ripon?
So again, got it done in Liverpool, pinned it, turned up looking like, Aunt Sally. I even had a massage and made her put a shower cap on me. And I was in the spa. Luckily, the spa was dead because I had a shower cap on me and I looked ridiculous. But I was like, honestly, I don't care. I don't give a shit, because tomorrow I'm going to have stunning hair.
But that's my dream.
Yeah.
My dream is that you can like have your Glow and Dry app, and wherever you are, it will ping up the nearest one to you, whether it's a salon or they come to your, what is it? It wants to become that, like you said, like your little best mate on your phone that you can go, oh, okay. And you follow it with you. Yeah. So like you said, look at where we all travel so much as well.
I think for you, Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
I could see you doing that.
We've done a few clients over there. Yeah. I've never physically gone because, I'm behind the desk. Everyone thinks I have this glamorous life. I'm just doing the bookings. But like you said, also like a big thing is like I would like it in like Miami. It's probably another one of like.
I think you bang on the money saying, about like people, like all the yachts and stuff, they'll want vitamin drips, they'll want all that. Like the day after, the night before.
You just need to pop up when the events are on. And that's what I started off with. Like you said, Cheltenham Festival. Okay, we've got a ton of people coming in for the races. We'll bring the hair and makeup artists in. Yeah. And then that's how Ascot started. I was like, right, okay, we'll partner with Carol Park and we'll bring the hair and makeup artists in for that week. Great, like
exactly.
You said, and then that became.
But that takes initiative. So you've looked at the customer's pain point, which is they can't get the hair and makeup.
I know, that was my pinpoint. It was my own personal pinpoint.
Everywhere I bloody go, I'm like,
because I can't do it myself, so I took my own personal pinpoint, said it to all my mates, and was like, "Have you got the same pinpoint?" And was like, "All right, well, let's solve it, shall we?"
Exactly.
Didn't dream that actually it would turn
appreciative of this.
I had no idea.
Last question, because we've got to wrap up in a minute, but I was thinking about this before. So after you've had like, a nervous breakdown doing some of these events sometimes.
Now you're dead inside as a human being.
Like, how do you switch off? What do you do to wind down?
I think I've learned now a little bit better. Like you said, I got really ill this year with the glandular fever, and it really did. Like, I just couldn't get out of the bed. And I think for someone like me who's always been so like pushing, like even when I'm tired, like you just get a coffee, you'll be fine, keep going. Like it's always just been going and keep going. Like, and then all of a sudden, like your mind can't get you out the bed. And that was hard for me to handle, because my mind can handle anything. But it couldn't solve my body this time around. And I think now I've started to be like, oh no, Scarlett's here and the business is here. Whereas before it was just so one-way street. Whereas now I've actually got to go, right, okay, business here, me here. I am a person away from this, and you need to take care of yourself. So like I really have started to like slow down and like do the meditation and like just do all the, like you said, like really starting to visualize what I want my future to be and the business. Because like without me, there is no business at this point. And I never really understood that until like you can't get out the bed.
Well, that's the thing. And then, so God
and no
forbid,
one tells you about that on Instagram.
Like
no one tells you how much it's going to affect your health. They all just show like, oh, I set up a business last week and now it's worth 2.2 million. And you're like, okay, well, I feel like a failure now because like mine's not worth that. But it's not real.
Yeah.
And people don't show you like the mental and physical effects it has on your health as a woman. Like
I completely agree.
Flight or fight was my life. I've realized this now of like, and it's only because I've recently got my hormones checked and like my cortisone levels were through the roof because I lived off coffee. That was basically it. I'd have a meal round Starbucks if you were lucky, basically. And then you realize that I'm actually living in this flight or fight mentality and I'm not taking any of this in. Whereas this year I've actually like started to like slow down and take it all in my stride a bit more and like look around. I never used to look around. I'd just be like, oh, that's done. Whereas now I'll be like, oh.
Yeah, and appreciate it a bit more. Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So lucky to do this. Not many people get to follow their dreams.
No. And I always say like a real business is if you got hit by a bus, could the business continue?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, it's not a business, is it?
Yeah.
It's not a real business because you've bought yourself a job.
Yeah.
And then fair enough, if the business could run without you, could it grow without you? And I think if you nail those two, which you said you're going to do a round of funding, hopefully that might give you, how much are you trying to raise?
We're going to raise 500,000 the first round. Yeah. So like you said, seed. And like the main thing is now is that like I want to expand.
Yeah.
Like, so like take everything that we've learned in London.
Yeah.
And then next step Manchester.
Yeah.
Liverpool. Yeah. Maybe then Miami. Like, it's always been like in my mind, if I build it as a franchise, then one day it either could be that and I could franchise this out, or we want the same service wherever you go. So like if you book a Glow and Dry in the Manchester, you're getting the same service as London.
Yeah.
Same service in Liverpool. And now, like you said, I do want it to get to the point where it isn't called Scarlett anymore. It's called Glow and Dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's the level, that's the stage that I'm at now because I don't want it to be about me anymore. Like I really don't. Like it really is about the talent, which is the hair and makeup artists. And I'm just the one that's, like you said, promoting them. Basically.
You want to be the founder and the face of the business that goes out, does the networking, does the raising, does the pitching, all that. But essentially, you want an operations manager that's running the operation. You know, that
and I'm
you've
glad,
like
trained. Like, if I hadn't have been there,
or a great MD.
I think that's what these other apps have lacked.
Yeah,
is that personality. And because I could be on the ground with my stylist at like 4 a.m, eating the cold pizza at the back of Annabelle's, being like, so I'm not in this industry. You tell me. What are the problems there? Where is it going wrong? Like, how could we do this better? Like, how could it be fixed? And they've told me, like, I don't want to feel like a number. I want to set my own rates. I've decided to be a freelancer because I want to be my own boss. Okay, so why don't you like working for these other companies? Because I feel like a number. They tell me when I have to work. They tell me what I'm charging. Well, then I'm not my own boss then, am I? I'm basically back in that salon, but I'm still trapped and committed. And there's no, like you said, there's no one coming in and like shaking this up, being like, this is wrong. Or you've got an agency that you work for. And then again, that baffles me. What? So you've got your own job off your own back. I've done nothing for it, but you have to give that to me.
Yeah.
And give me a cut and give me 20% of it.
Yeah.
I mean, great for me.
Yeah.
Like much better business model.
Yeah.
But like, the mentality now with Instagram and everything is you can't live like that way anymore. Like it's got to be, like you said, an agency that's open. Yes, if I provide you the jobs, then you know, then I'm not working for free because believe you me, it's not doing my health any good. So if I give you the jobs, then yes, we take the commission. But if not, you're your own boss. Like you set your own rates, you set your own hours, and that's kind of how we've always worked it to be like, here's this job. Do you want to take it? Yes or no? And if it's a no, fine. See you on the next one.
Yeah.
Like there is, like you said, there's always been that element of us more being like an agency. And that's what they kind of liked. And that's what I think we're looking to now scale on. And I don't want anyone to ever be like, oh, they were really great when they were a small agency and then they scaled up and then the lack of like customer service wasn't there anymore. Like I always still want to keep that there's always somebody you can call up.
For sure. And I think that will be the company.
The app will gain all the information and like, you know, there'll be rewards and there's all these things that I've always wanted to do. And like some point have a podcast with my stylist because like the stories that they can tell,
I'm sure,
are beyond.
I think that comes from the company culture and setting that tone from the beginning that anybody then that becomes process driven as well. So with the app, then obviously it becomes process. The more data you get, the better it can get. You refine, but test, learn.
Yeah.
You'll do it. You'll nail it.
Well, the tech's just meant to enhance, isn't it? And make your life easier. Whereas, like you said, if you're dealing with a product, then fine. Like you said, that lipstick comes out the warehouse, goes straight to what is it? You can control the lipstick, does not answer you back in life, doesn't have a child that's not very well this day. And then like last minute, she can't do the booking now. Whereas you have this when you're dealing with people. People have lives. Shit happens. Like you've always got to have someone there at the back end to be like, okay, you can't go now. Let's switch her out. Let's make sure the client's still happy. Like I always want to create a community and like an environment that it's more than just the jobs. You feel safe with Glow and Dry. I'm not a number. I'm a person. Like we do this events, everything around it. So like you said, I want to scale out the technology, but keep that personality there, that it's a community because it's such a nice community. Like my stylists have kept me going.
Yeah.
Like they've literally painted a smile on my face some days. I'm like, ding.
Yeah.
Because I look great, because they've done my hair and makeup. You can go in and you can wing it because you look great and you paint a smile on your face. Behind the smile, you could be crumbling, exhausted, had a bad time the day before, like your own personal life. But no one will ever know because like you said, I've had the backup of my team behind me to be like, oh, you know, if you step out for 5 minutes, you've got to trust them. And the only way that they'll actually do it is if they like believe in the goal that you're trying to create. Like I'm not creating this for myself. Like I'm creating it for my clients and all the stylists have a platform where they can go, okay, I want to be a makeup artist. Where do I go? Okay, I'll put myself on Glow and Dry. It's an enterprise platform to be your own boss is what I'm trying to establish. To like empower. I want to empower my clients to look and feel their best. And I want to empower the stylists to, you know, be their own boss. Like you can do this, but we're here to support you. We're here to give you the jobs, but you're still you at the end of the day. You're not just another, like you book a blow dry on one of these apps. Who's coming to your house? You don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that is a perfect place to finish the podcast. And wow, that's been amazing. Thank you so much. How was your first podcast?
It was really nice. I think it's like, because I've always been so busy running the business, I've actually never had time to talk about running it. Yeah. So this year feels like really like therapeutic for me in a way. Like everything I do, I like think, don't cry. Because like you said, I've never had time to walk back down memory lane. So it is kind of nice to like reminisce before this next huge wave comes. I feel like it's like stepping back to appreciate what you've done before your next big stage is
definitely
coming.
Don't forget to smell the roses.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Scarlett, for coming up from London. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to be booking Glow and Dry very, very soon.
Me too.